Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at KuCoin, see kind of what's going on here today. And as you already probably might be aware of, there is going to be an event here today, which is referred to as the Super Bowl here in the United States. So if you're in another country, Super Bowl, you've probably already seen it. I'm not sure. But regardless of that fact, Super Bowl is causing this green candle here today, where if we look over at Bitcoin, not so green, right? Kind of a dead day for lack of better terms, and KuCoin's doing very well. So just kind of want to throw it out there. There's a good chance that is likely the catalyst. Now, if you're new to the channel, right, I wanted to let you know I'm not a financial advisor. I just love teaching people how to trade. I have a trading community with the Trading Academy where I teach you to become a better trader. And I also send out signals for every single trade that I take. So consider joining if you want to become just overall better and more, I don't know, you have better survival skills in this industry, right? Because it's really all about surviving the market instead of truly thriving, because survival is a very good income. Trust me, I work every single day doing the same thing, and I tell you, I love it. So anyways, enough about that. This is kind of what's going on here. Let's go ahead and look at the regular standard stuff and just kind of touch on some good things here. And of course, the bad if there is, right? So first things first, with KuCoin, we're above both moving averages, right? Obviously a good sign. Above the 50 is a big deal though. And if we kind of compare this, and again, I'm just going to draw comparisons to Bitcoin recently because whether we like it or not, even though KuCoin is doing very well overall, and it's a good fundamental coin, etc., the whole 9 yards, I think it'll be just fine. It's got a very similar experience to Bitcoin, right? In other words, when I say experience, just this pattern is very similar in a lot of ways where it comes up, and essentially, very very similar. In other words, this here, for example, is the same as Bitcoin, right? In other words, it had this strong peak. It was trying to peak up, got rejected, came back down. And if you look at KuCoin, essentially, you can see obviously it's performing very similarly. Now, today is a different story, of course, based on the news and the fact that they have a lot of advertisements out, etc. There's a lot going on there, right? Now, I don't know every single thing about how they're advertising and where it's at, etc. But I can tell you though that has a lot to do with the movement here today. Okay, so just kind of be aware of that, and also know too that oftentimes there's this term that is referred to as buy the hype, sell the news, right? In other words, you buy into it now effectively, or you had bought into it previously, right? And then you sell once the news occurs. In other words, whenever this event takes place, that's when you might want to consider selling later before it dumps, right? That being said, just be aware of the fact that this could and has potential to come back down based on the simple fact that Bitcoin is struggling. And if you want to watch my other Bitcoin video, you'll know that it's retracing and effectively going into some potentially bad news tomorrow, right? We got the Fed meeting, we've got this emergency meeting that's coming up, notoriously never a great sign for Bitcoin. And KuCoin minus today is falling very similar and synonymous to Bitcoin previously, right? So just be aware of the fact that this is all well and good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that KuCoin's like, oh, it's independent from Bitcoin, it's all well and good. It is because there's some fundamental catalyst here, of course, with the Super Bowl, and that's driving the price action up, right? So it's all well and good, right? But just be realistic in the fact that this may not last very long, if at all, right? Just throwing it out there. And again, there's also the inverse as well. It could shoot straight up from here. But I think that's less likely based on Bitcoin kind of being on a razor's edge there at a major key level of support, potentially losing the support down to 41,000 or lower, right? If that were to happen, KuCoin should follow suit fairly close. I don't think the Super Bowl is going to just continue to push the price action higher. Yes, they'll have some really awesome advertisements, and that commonly pushes the price up. But reality sinks in, and investors, big investors that have a lot of money in Crow, they're going to take their profits while the rest of us are sitting on the sidelines. No pun intended. And we're going to get kind of raked over the coals, right? So just be mindful of the fact that the price could very well come back down just as fast as it came up, right? All right, enough about that. Let's talk about some good stuff here. We're over 50 on the R side. Absolutely awesome. We love to see that. Anything under 70 over 50 is a great sign. We've also got this nice bullish convergence as well, right? It's still continuing to progress upwards. That's a great sign as well. So the macro looks very good for Crow. Obviously, this is a higher low as well, so we don't have anything really truly to be worried about. Just note that there's not a lot of volume in the most immediate, the most recent past here below the current price point, okay? Now, there is, of course, a volume accumulation around 43 cents, but if we just say we lose right now, and in this case, just say we lose the support level of roughly 50 cents, 46 is probably not going to hold very strong, and 43 would be the next available support. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's a free fall, but that's a pretty decent percentage between that range, right? We're talking about a 10 to 12% correction. That could happen if Bitcoin drops its bottom. I just want you to be aware of that. All right. Now that I've stated that obvious, and hopefully you understand what I mean by that, let's look at some other good stuff. The 4-hour chart's awesome. Look at that. It's coming. The 50-day set moving average, unlike Bitcoin, is holding very strong and very steady. As you can see, Bitcoin struggled here during this time frame. Just dropped right below the 50 and nothing even happened. But KuCoin is consistently staying higher. That's a very, very good sign. So again, the midterm looks good in that sense. The 4-hour chart looks great. We're back up over 50 on the RSI, whereas Bitcoin's below 50. And of course, we have a MACD convergence here as well, which is traditionally a good sign to take a long position to the upside as a swing trade potential, because it tells you that the bulls have gained control. It's making higher highs and higher lows essentially, and we're in good shape. And keep in mind, this is technically still a higher high and higher low, because this is technically a little bit lower than the lowest candlestick. Okay. Again, that's just kind of what we're looking at there for the moment. So I would say that KuCoin is looking pretty good, all things considered. There's really nothing here that I see that's disadvantageous. But let's just go ahead and double check really quick as well. We'll probably be back up above the cloud. Yes, we broke above the cloud. All good signs here. So for lack of better terms, you have a green light to go ahead and keep your position open, right? So by no means am I telling you to sell your position. I'm just telling you to be aware of the fact that, if the price were to come back down, it could come back down pretty heavy if we were to lose that nice support level around 49 cents / 50 cents as a round number. So I would just recommend just moving your stop loss higher if you have a short-term position. Just say you took entry down here at about 48 and you're up at about 51 right now, feeling pretty good. Try not to get too greedy. Take that 7-8% profit. There's nothing wrong with that. Or trim half your position and keep the rest for later and adjust your stop loss accordingly. Once again, I teach this in my trading academy and to my community members every single day. You always want to have at least 3 profit targets in place and a trailing stop loss. And have that trailing stop loss be a moving target 1. In other words, as soon as you hit your profit target number 1, the stop loss adjusts to break even. And what do you know? If you take 60, 70, 80% of your profit on the first profit target, price comes down and you get stopped out, you're still profitable at the end of the day. Right. Those are ways in which you can survive the market. And again, I teach all this in my trading academy. It's available at CryptoCache.tech. But for now, if you're going to take anything away from this, I recommend you be careful and just try not to be naive going into this event. Because yes, it's all well and good right now. The last 12 hours have been fantastic for Crow, contrary to Bitcoin. But I can tell you that this may not last forever. And it's not going to be the catalyst that KuCoin needs to just break free from Bitcoin. It'll take a lot more than that, right? So if it does break free from Bitcoin eventually, which I still think is going to happen, it'll be for other reasons. It shouldn't be just from one major event. Once again, I could be totally off base, and I hope that I'm wrong. I hope the price continues to go up. So by all means, just know that the near future here, we don't truly know what will happen. A lot of times these speculative events can really just mess people up, and I've seen it happen a lot. So I just exercise caution, consider having your stop in place, and just know if we do lose this support level here, roughly at about 47 cents and or 49, then we're going to see probably not a lot of support between 46 and 43. Okay. All right, so hopefully you found benefit here, of course, and I'll keep a closer eye here on KuCoin here soon. I honestly, truly do hope that it continues to progress upwards. I hope I'm wrong here. I have no problem with being wrong if the price continues to go higher. But I can just tell you that it's one of those things that's it feels like it's kind of a trap, and I don't love that. So I hope you find benefit, of course. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video, and obviously if you're not currently a community member, consider joining. I do look forward to working with you. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks again.